Hey guys, it's Heather the Crochet Witch. How are you guys doing today? So, this is the next hashtag movie and stitch video where I am hopefully finally going to complete the series that I started 3 years ago. 3 years ago. I didn't go back and see when the first one was. But I had joined in when everyone else was doing it, and I didn't complete it, thus didn't complete the project, and I want to complete it, so I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to make this a quick one because actually I need to delete some stuff on my phone. I only have a 20-minute video to do, and David wants to go to bed in 15 minutes, so it's going to be a quick one, hopefully. The idea behind it, if you haven't seen the hashtag movie and stitch before, since it's an older series, is watching videos that start with each letter of the alphabet, A through Z, and kind of giving a review of it, I suppose, and then working on a project. Most people worked on a project and it was inspired by the movie. I, however, am doing a Halloween themed project and watching horror movies A through Z. 'Cause, you know, me. Now, I'm on X and I didn't have the best X movie. So, like, for horror, I mean, it's a good movie in my opinion. So it's more sci-fi-ish though. So what I had was the X-Files. Now there are multiple X-Files movies, I believe. I actually only seen this one, which I loved the X-Files, and I didn't realize how much I had like forgotten about the X-Files, considering like I loved them. That was a pretty big fandom of mine back in the day. But this one was the X-Files Fight the Future. This one was the 1998 X-Files. Obviously I loved it then. And I really liked watching it again. I haven't seen it since, I haven't seen it in a really long time. I was just talking about the X-Files the other day, actually, with somebody at work, and talking about how timeless David Duchovny is. So, which if you're not familiar with the X-Files, I'm surprised, I guess, because it was so big in like what, the 90s. But the X-Files was Mulder and Scully, and the basis was they were like the supernatural department of the FBI, basically, investigating all these different spooky happenings and creepy happenings and claims and stuff. And so the movie, like, through the show, like, more things evolved. You saw more sinister people. Like, my favorite villain was probably everybody's favorite villain, I think, which was the cigarette smoking man, of course, who was like was he the actual like leader? Was there even a leader, or were they all just like a group? But it was like a group of these like basically like rich evil masterminds who were like in league with aliens, and they were always like feeding Mulder these little like crumbles of like, because Mulder was so obsessed with, you know, the idea that aliens were in existence because they took his sister and everything, and like when he was young. And so since then he'd been like obsessed with the idea, and they're always feeding Mulder like just enough like bits, you know, to keep him on the believing trail. And like, especially like when he was like going to give up and things like that, then the cigarette smoking man showed up, you know, or like when something particularly evil was going down, who was behind it? The cigarette smoking man, you know. But of course him and his group of evil villains were behind this. They were essentially hiding the black ooze. This is the movie that explained like some of the black ooze origins, where it was mutating. It was like on the planet for years and being frozen in like this underground cave or whatever. And some kids like dug into the cave, or like accidentally found the cave, and they had accidentally released it. Well, the government, there was firefighters in the area trying to get the kids out of the cave, the kid that had fallen down there, and they got infected. And the government rushed right in, and you just see them take away everybody that was down there, and the next thing you know, they're blowing up this building, and it's a big mystery. Why was it, why was there a bomb in this building? Why were there bodies in this building? And suddenly there's a guy who's claiming to be friends with Mulder's dad. And it turns out he really was. But there was this whole skepticism moment of that, of course, where Mulder went through his self-doubt reflection moment. But he was feeding Mulder breadcrumbs. He just wasn't one of the cigarette smoking man's guys, really. He was in the know with them, but he wasn't one of them. And he was telling him, he was the information guy, right? He's a conspiracy theorist, people thought, but he was telling him there were bodies in the building that blew up, and Mulder and Scully coincidentally were trying to find the bomb in this building to begin with that had been called in, because the X-Files had basically been broken up. There was no X-Files, so they were relocated to this job in the FBI. But they were still partnered at the time. And the guy told him the bodies were already dead because they were trying to get rid of them, because they were the alien, the black ooze bodies and stuff. And so Mulder went around investigating it. Him and Scully found this. They ended up going back to the original place. They found this caravan where they were taking whatever they were actually looking for, not the bodies, I was going to say, but they didn't know at the time that it was the black ooze, but it was. And they followed this train caravan, whatever, to the facility that it was in, and they had this is where it tied into horror for me, because it was just billions of bees out of nowhere. And I remember that being, because I'm allergic to bees, so it was this terrifying moment. And miraculously they didn't get stung, and then they got chased out of the place besides the bees, because there was a big chase with helicopters, and they were terrified, and suddenly the helicopters were just gone. And it was enough to get them out of there. So they left, because Scully had to get back, because because of the bomb investigation, they were allegating that, after the informant guy talked to Mulder and Scully were allegating that it was a cover up and this and that. And they were having to go to hearings, and Scully had to be back the next day in D.C., which they were in Texas for that, had to go to D.C. for her hearing. And so they hightailed it back there, and while she was there, she was deciding she was going to quit if they broke them up, which they did. And she went to go tell Mulder goodbye, and there was a stowaway bee from the place, and it stung her. Well, it infected her. And so basically the rest of the movie was this big chase where Mulder got, one of the cigarette smoking men guys turned on them and took Mulder aside and gave him the coordinates where the base was that she was being kept, which was Antarctica, because they were keeping the aliens on ice, basically. And she was there being held in stasis while it was gestating in her. And he gave him an antidote, which if it was administered in a certain amount of time, he could save her. And of course, in true Mulder fashion, he braves everything, makes his way to Antarctica, and saves Scully, saves the day. They get back, and at the end of the day, they end up reinstating the X-Files, and life as we know it goes on that was 98, so for 4 more years before the X-Files ended. But it did end up coming back, 3-4 years ago for another season. Now I really want to watch it again. But anyway, if you were an X-Files fan, if you haven't seen that movie, I definitely think you should. I know I just gave away the entire thing, but there was a lot more to it. And there was, of course, just watching Mulder be all Mulder, to me, is worth it. But, but yeah, that was my X movie anyway. So in a nutshell. There you go. Told you this would be a faster one. The project that I worked on is my solid granny square blanket. I showed you it last week. The solid granny squares being the Karen Jumbo in the color, the copper plum color, which I only have like part of a skein left. And yeah, it's been discontinued. I did see the comment that some like stashes have it on Ravelry. I'm gonna have to look into that because I would totally love to have a few more of these to play around with. I would love to make everything with this yarn. I love it. It's soft in itself, but it is beautiful, and I love this yarn. Plum Copper, actually, I think is the name of it. Each one is, this is lime, this is orange, and I think this is just called Violet, but these are Big Twist Classics. They're technically a size 5 yarn, and where everything else is a size 4, but they work, so yay. And then it is held, or is joined together, my continuous join, link down below by the way, with just Red Heart with Love in the color black. I did show you the picture of how big it is last week, but what I got done during this movie, I had done 2 colors of the border, and now there is a 3rd color, this purple right here. The edges, the 2 edges on the long sides are flat, and the 2 edges on the top and bottom, let me unfold it a little bit for you so you can see it better, are spiked. So I got the purple in, which makes the spike a lot more pronounced, and I really like that. I debated putting something else at the end of the spike, but I don't know. I think I'm going to keep the peaks the way they are. Like, I think border-wise, I might be done with it. I debated going around the whole thing in black again, and just tightening up the peaks a little, but I think I'm done with the border. I think the last 2 movies are going to be sewing on my appliques, and if I need to make any more, which, yeah, the last, like, this border took me the movie, like the purple border, except for, because I was watching a lot of the movie instead of, I was like, anyway, but I also looked up because I have various sizes of these little ghosts made, and I do have the tombstone, which I'm still debating. A lot of you guys said it really didn't look that bad, and I do think if I sew it on, I can shape it a little better. And I thought about having like one of the bigger ghosts, but I thought about having a ghost rising from the tombstone. Still debating. I might maybe do it, but I found an applique pattern for, it's a diagram, so I'd have to, you know, be looking at it during one of the movies, but it's for bats, so I might do the bats. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I think I'm gonna sew these on next week and then see what I have time for the last movie. But that brings me to my Y movie, XY. So we only have 2 more movies, this one and one more. So for the Y movie, we're going back to actual horror. And I love this movie so much. I have seen it before. I suggest seeing it for you guys, but I'll leave that to the review for the next one. I'll just reveal it now, and then I will say my goodbyes. Are you ready? You're next. I cannot wait to see this. Again, I mean, like I said, I have seen it before. It's just like your jump scare classic, like horror-y movie. It's called a new horror classic, is on the back it says. But yeah, I'll tell you more about it next week. But I'm very excited to watch it again. I really, really do like this movie. Let me know if you guys have seen it. I don't know if it's streaming anywhere. It was on Hulu a long time ago. I bet it's on Amazon, but I'm not sure. If anybody knows, let us know down below too. But I'm going to leave you guys on that note. And yeah, thank you for joining me. Thank you for cheering me on. It means a lot to me. I am going to get this blanket done, and I'm very excited. Yeah, I will talk to you next week. You'll see like a whole actual blanket next week unfolded, because I will have appliques on there, so it'll be taking its final form. All right, I will talk to you later, guys. I love you so much. Bye.